Hey guys, Joe Bisping checking in here. If you use a chainsaw, you're going to want to know these tips on how to maintain it to keep it cutting the way you want it. So tune in and check it out. So what you want to do first is get your saw. This one I've used this week, so it's dirty, it needs cleaned up. You're going to need a few tools. You need your scrunch with the right size to take the nuts off the bar. You're also going to need this tool here. This is a great tool. You should have one of these. Don't necessarily need to buy a professional one like this one, but anything really to clean out the groove. I'm going to show you what this is going to do for you. You're also going to need a file, some sort of pick to clean out your oil groove holes, and then some grease. And we'll go from there. So first thing you want to do, remove the bar and chain. Make sure your brake handle is disengaged before you try to remove it. Okay. Take the bar cover off. Take your chain off. Set that aside. The first thing we're going to do is work on the bar. I don't think people realize how important it is to really maintain your bar or your chainsaw, especially homeowners. So I'm going to show you some tips that are really going to help you. If you ever notice sometimes when you're cutting, as you're going down through the wood, the bar seems to stall and then jumps down and stall and jump down. It seems really jumpy, even though you might have a new chain on there. Part of the problem could be on these bars, as the chain goes across the bar, it wears down the bar, okay, and it creates a little edge that flares over, almost like a mushroom, okay? And it could be a little edge on there. If you run your fingernail on here, you can sometimes feel it. I've cleaned this one off pretty good. I filed it. So up here I got a little bit of an edge. You can see how my fingernail is sticking. So you want to check that on all sides, especially on the tip too, okay? Not just on the edges, but on the tip. And you can see where the wear is on the bar. So it's very important to file that down, or else you'll get a jumpy bar. So we're going to go ahead and do that. There's two ways to do it. You can do it with a hand file, this guy here, and all you're going to do is some nice light strokes. This one's not bad, so I don't really need to, but just for the demonstration. Some of your target areas are going to be closer to your power head, right here, and then your tip. So you're going to want to make sure you really file that down to avoid the jumpiness. Another way you can do it is with a table grinder, and I'll show you how to do that. So you don't want to get crazy with it, you just want to go a nice light pass as you're going. Make sure you wear your safety glasses. Try to be as consistent as you can, keep a nice smooth edge. And then flip the bar to the other side. Just like that. Okay, so once you have the edges filed off, that's the first part, okay? Second part is, here's a tip you really don't like, that I really appreciated having whenever I was started my tree service, because that's what I have, and I use my saws on a daily basis, is also another reason you might notice when you're cutting that your bar is just turning when you're going through the wood. So as you're cutting with a curve. And one of the reasons can be because your rails are uneven, okay? So you look at your rail, and you can imagine that sometimes one side of the rail would wear down faster than the other. So you have to fix that if it is, because if it is, like I said, it'll cut crooked. So what you want to do is find a flat surface and put your bar down on the flat surface and see if it'll sit up. If it does, it's pretty good. Check the other side. There you go. So if they were out in any way, if they were uneven, it would fall over. And one way you could fix it again is with a bench grinder. And like I said, you would just do a light pass. So when you're grinding the edges off, the higher edge of your rail, you can mark it with a marker that I put away. So if I think my right edge is a little higher, I would mark it, and then actually I would mark both of them, and then as I'm grinding on my table grinder, I'll grind until all the marker goes away. So you'll see one side disappear first, And then once they're level, the other side will disappear, the color will disappear off there. And then you should have a fairly flat surface. And you should know that your rails are now even. So now we've established that we have no edge on the bar and our rails are even. So that will prevent any of the curvature. And then once we go from there, now it's very important to clean out your rails. And that's what this tool is for. This tool was made specifically for this purpose. It's a clean out tool plus a screwdriver. So what you want to do is clean out the rails by inserting it at the top. You want to work from the tip towards the base. Okay, and you'd be surprised how much gunk you get in there. You can see how much is coming out here. So just a lot of times you get just a buildup of oil and chips and dust and pitch. So you want to clean that out real good. So it's important to get that cleaned out. Just like that. Now you don't have to use this tool. You can get, I've used plastic before. You can use anything really, as long as it fits inside the rail. Okay. Sure, let's get good and clean. A lot of times I'll take a flat edge to scrape any of the garbage off of here that might be on there. Like so. Okay, that's gone. Good. Sometimes, if you get a real buildup of pitch on your bar, I don't really have too much because this one's pretty clean. I must have did it not too long ago. Sometimes you'll get a buildup of like pitch and just dry sawdust on there, and you need to get it off. You can use a piece of sandpaper and sand it off, or you can use some WD-40 or something. But you want to get that nice and clean. You want to get all the gunk off the bar. You don't want anything slowing you down from going through the wood. So once you have that cleaned out, you're done with this tool. We can put it away. Another tool that I have that I use right here. These are your oiler holes. As you can see, these are different on different bars, but this bar specifically has this little oiler hole right here. So we want to get that gunk out of there. Okay, that one's clean. And there's one on each side of the bar. Okay. All right, so we got the oilers cleaned out. That's important because you don't want the holes to be clogged, and then you can't get oil to your chain, and then you'll end up burning up your chain. Okay, another tip you want to know. A lot of guys I see comment on videos and say, "Hey, your bar's upside down." Well, there's no such thing as an upside down. The only thing that's upside down is the logo on the bar, which doesn't really matter. So every time you put on a new chain, or every few sharpens, if you're a professional or somebody who sharpens by hand or with a bench grinder, you want to rotate your bar. Okay, and it just helps the wear. As you can see, there's wear on each side. It looks like there's more wear on this side of the bar than this side, but typically you just want to flip it every time you do maintenance. So that's why you'll see, and that's why you have oiler holes on both sides, so you can switch it, because you want to wear the bar evenly. So I'm going to put the bar this way. Okay. After you do that, you now want to clean the power head. I want to put the emphasis on the bar because that's a really important part of really maintaining your chainsaw as far as cutting goes. So just keep that in mind. This tool is great also for cleaning out the gunk on your saw. You just want to clean out all the heavy junk in here. Really just scrape it out of there. This one wasn't too bad, but it can really get nasty. Clean it out good. Wipe it down. Doesn't have to be crazy spotless. Just don't want things clogging up in there. Okay, so once you get that cleaned out, sometimes if you feel like it's really dirty, you can pull this plate off, and underneath it here is just where your oil comes out and things, so you clean underneath it there. Also, you want to check your sprocket and make sure there's proper wear on there. I don't know if I have an extra one sitting here to show you. Okay, so here's an example of a worn sprocket. See these grooves inside here? Okay, so this is where the chain lays, the chain links lay, okay? So as they go through here, you can see when it's spinning, okay, it wears down on there. And you can see there's kind of grooves and it looks shiny in there. That shouldn't be there. That's kind of a wear out. So you can see on this saw, You can see there's a little bit of a wear on there, but nothing yet. You know, this is a fairly new sprocket on there, so just keep that in mind. Just check on that every once in a while. And one thing you'll notice if you do have a worn sprocket is the bottom of your chain will start flattening out, and you'll see it start like rubbing off because it's actually hitting. So you want to kind of prevent that. Your drive links will start flattening out. Okay, so you'll see them wearing out and like getting all mangled up. So keep that in mind too. All right, guys. Next thing we're gonna do, check the filter, your air filter. Make sure that it's not clogged up. Clean it out a little bit in here. Make sure we don't have any debris inside the housing. Clean it out real good. You can use an air compressor if you'd like. If you have one, it's probably the best thing. Take your cover off here. So you got a little bit of dirt in there. Not dirt, sawdust. Then I'd go blow it out, but it's actually pretty clean. So we'll put this back on first here. It's just an extra protection layer for the bigger debris. Then we're gonna throw that back on there. Slap that back on. Make sure there's nothing crazy big in there. Bring that back down. Alrighty, that's a filter specific to this saw, but your saw could have a different filter, and just clean it off. After that, just do a little wipe down around the fuel cap. So whenever you go to open it, refuel, you don't get any debris in there. Same thing with your oiler cap, clean around it, and that's it. We're gonna slap her back together. Oh, that's not it. Now you're gonna want to clean out your bar cover, side plate here, and this little tool makes it nice. As you can see, you get a buildup of gunk in there, so we're gonna clean that out. Scrape it all out of there, get the big stuff. There we go. What you want to do is clean around these plastic guards, okay? Clean all the gunk out of the cracks and crevices. These little guards here, these are plastic. They're chain guards, okay? They pop in and out. You want to make sure you have those on your cover here. You don't want to lose those. They protect the cover, keep the chain kind of straight, and you can see where it rubs on there on both sides. So check those, make sure they're not worn out, and replace them as needed. So on some bars, on the bar tips, you'll have a little hole here. Which I might have one here I can actually show you. Okay, so on some bars, like this little Husqvarna bar, right here, there's a little hole near the bar tip where you can take one of these grease guns, okay, put it in there, and then you can press it like this. Okay, that shoots some grease, and you can see it coming out of there, okay? There you go. Some of them don't have it. This one doesn't have it, so apparently it doesn't require it. But I'll still spray some down the side. Mix it in there a little bit on each side. There you go. Just a little squirt on each side will do the job. Wipe off the excess. Then we're going to go ahead and place the bar onto the power head. Place the chain on the bar. Okay. Place the bar cover. Put it over here where you can see it. So I'll just go ahead and tighten these up finger tight. I'll start tightening up my chain. Now your chain tensioner screw may be in different places. You could have one on the front here, like this. You could have one on the side, or you can even have one on the older versions that are in the front, inside of the bar. So what you're going to do is tighten up your chain, and as you're tightening your chain, you want to lift up on the tip of the bar. Okay. So I'll lift it up. So I'm holding up the tip of the bar. Okay. And it seems a little tight, so we're going to back it off a little bit. Okay. That goes alright. Then I'm going to tighten up bar nuts. There it is. Okay. And make sure your chain's not on backwards. That would not be good. Wouldn't cut very well. So, to recap, tools I used: the bar groove clean out tool right here, little pick, clean out your oiler holes, grease gun, scrunch, and a rag, and that should do it. And you may need a marker, oh yeah, and the file, or a bench grinder. Alright guys, so that was some pro tips on how to maintain your chainsaw to keep it cutting the way you want it. And if you have any questions, or if I missed anything, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And again, always, thanks for watching.